I bought it, it's Liddy again. Slide a bit from the topic and Liddy. Hopping the red, then I bought it, it's Liddy again. Slide a bit from the topic and Liddy.
What up, though? Good morning. Welcome to the Mic Check Podcast. This is T Word, the People's Champ. Thank you for tapping in. Appreciate y'all joining us. Hopefully, you all enjoyed that new intro for the live streams that we just dropped on y'all head. Free Tory, what up, King Kunta? Good morning to you, brother. Hopefully, you're having a great day today. We're going to do a little bit of live sports talk for a good 30 minutes, depending on the conversation flow, if not better. Hopefully, everybody is going to enjoy what we have on deck. We're going to start off with boxing and talk about Michael Williams Jr. and some comments made by his father across the YouTube boxing community. So we're going to get into that and more. I'm still looking to see which fantasy fight I want to go over today. But in the meantime, if anybody's interested in joining the panel, feel free to do so. I just want to talk about some news that came across the feed. One of the first things I saw today was Manny Pacquiao is in the news, and he's got a couple different opportunities in front of him. And it's just going to be interesting to see which one he pursues. And y'all let me know if my mic is good. You know what I'm saying? Make sure my mic sound nice. Check one. But that being said, Manny Pacquiao is in the news again, and he's got a couple potential fights that are being discussed. One of them is Kell Brook, and the other is Conor Benn. So we're going to talk about which one is more likely and what needs to happen for the fights to happen. So let's start with Conor, because I think that's the most complicated to check on, you know what I'm saying, to figure out. League of Legacies, what's up with you, brother? Thank you for checking in. Appreciate you. Like I said, it's open panel. Feel free to tap in at any time, guys. If we start to talk about something you're interested in discussing, feel free to hit that link and join the conversation live on air. No camera is required because I ain't turning mine on the day on the back end of COVID. So I'll be shaking back, mic camera ready in a couple of days. But right now, we're just going to get these vocals, you dig? That being said, Conor Benn is interested in fighting Manny Pacquiao. So I have a few thoughts about that. And my first thought is even a non-enhanced Conor Benn, I feel like might be too much for Manny Pacquiao at this point. Because when we last saw Pacquiao versus Yordenis Ugas, it didn't look good. Pacquiao definitely took a beating. And it made me feel like it was enough. Now, that said, on the same day that Bud Crawford had his fight, December 10th, Manny Pacquiao was fighting, and I watched some of that, a pay-per-view on one of the foreign streams. And, I mean, he looked good, but I think it had a lot to do with the level of competition, too. They put him in there with somebody that was supposed to make him look good, and he's supposed to beat up. King Kunta says, how you feeling? COVID is no joke. Yeah, man, this is the second time in like 6 months it caught up with me. So I usually shake back pretty good. I don't usually demonstrate severe symptoms when I get sick, and I hadn't this time. I had like one day of real severe stuff, and then after that I've been good to go, you know, just resting, isolating, and just staying out the way. This is like day 5 isolation. So, but besides like that little cough that you get, other than that, I'm good. I'm just ready to get back, you know, fully in the gym and work out and get back to normal life. But yeah, so cooking on this Conor Benn thing. So Manny Pacquiao, I think he can fight. Obviously, Floyd Mayweather is still active in fighting, so it's like I'm not mad at him for taking advantage of opportunities to get the bag because it would be disingenuous for me to be mad at Manny and not be mad at Floyd. So I think if the legends have a lane, I would rather them do it when they're in their early 40s and mid 40s, like he and Floyd are, rather than in their 50s, like Mike and Roy Jones Jr., somebody we're going to talk about a little bit later. I really don't want to see the legends in there over 50 when they could be doing other things, coaching, passing on the knowledge, stuff like that. So there's the prime time for Manny to do it. Conor Ben, on the other hand, is not a good matchup, in my opinion, just because too fast, too strong, just too much. I just don't like that look for Manny. And unfortunately, he's interested in it, but they do say his team has said that. How ironic is this? His team has said that they want Manny to get rid of his I mean, Manny's team wants Connor to get his steroid issue cleared up before they agree to fight him. So that leaves the door open for another legendary fighter, or I mean, I don't know if you say legendary, but definitely formerly an elite fighter, Special K, Kell Brook. He's actually expressed interest recently in wanting to tangle with Manny Pacquiao. So let's talk about that. All right, so Kell Brook is definitely one of those fighters that you can't help but root for. And for me, he's somebody I could root for against anybody except when he faced Errol Spence. And I still think he had a decent little run after his loss to Errol, because you got to think about it. He came off the heels of getting punished by Triple G. Then you turn around and go in there with a body snatcher, and um, all of a sudden, you you have to try and recover your career. And I thought he did a good job until he finally got knocked out by Bud. But that was I mean, that was just going to happen eventually. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's get to some comments as well. We'll keep it in the flow of conversation. All right, so but Floyd is doing exhibitions exclusively. I don't mind that. But Manny fighting any active guy that is trying to be a real champion, he gotta chill. So is that really on Manny's side of the discussion, or is that on Connor's side? Because I kind of feel like Manny would only do it as an exhibition. Because if he has any real aspirations of getting back to true boxing and go after some type of title or something, if that's his ambition, I don't think he would want to fight Connor and instantly take a loss in the rankings. So I feel like they will fight as an exhibition just because you could get more money behind it. It opens up location opportunities. You can just let them dudes from the Middle East pay for that, and it's good to go. I think if it's against Kell Brook, it absolutely has to be an exhibition. I don't want either one of them in a real fight, to be honest. So while I tend to agree with part of what you're saying, um, I don't know whose end of the spectrum the issue that you just brought up actually lies with. And we can figure it out. League of Legacy says, "LOL, ironic indeed." That's facts, man. It's definitely ironic because it's like, hey man, ain't you the one who basically has some questionable health tactics and things going on at some point when you was trying to get in a fight with Floyd, and then all of a sudden you trying to hold somebody to a standard that you were very reluctant to bear? So that's a little problematic to me. But when you are the A side, and I mean he's the A side, no matter how you spin that, I don't care who Conor Ben's dad is. Manny Pacquiao's the A side with pretty much anybody he gets in the ring with right now, not named Floyd Mayweather. That's just a fact. All right, so if he's not going to fight Connor again, they've got all these issues that need to be cleared up first. If it's not Connor, then it's going to be Kell Brook, in my opinion, which will be a really good exhibition. I think some type of Legends exhibition would be fun. Now, here's something interesting we could talk about. What about we've got all these legends around, let's say 38 to about 46. All right. I don't know if you all are familiar with Masters Boxing with USA Boxing, but if you're 36 and above, you could fight anybody within the 8-year age limit and within 10 pounds. So let's say a 36-year-old could fight like a 45-year-old or 44-year-old, something like that. Okay. But anyway, what if these retired boxers were to get together and kind of like the big three, get a little bit of a league together. Everybody decide what weight they want to compete at, and maybe they just fight each other with some modified rules. Maybe we do 8 round matches. We do 2 minutes per round, and they have to do the normal stuff. But instead of having these significant weight cuts, maybe they do something like these very uh, health friendly catch weights. What do you all think about that particular setup? It's like a boxing league, kind of like a World Boxing Super Series, except it's for legendary or recently retired boxers. So it's like they could still earn paydays. There's some sanctioning around it to some degree, to where there's some rules in place. It's not the wild, wild west, and it protects them, and it gives their family some peace of mind about them getting in the ring. Because the truth is, it's a little bit of a dangerous game for these guys like Manny, thinking like, man, I should go in there getting a real fight, and then something bad happens. Our minds can't help but wander to worst case scenario, but sometimes they do. And in this particular case, I just worry for Manny Pacquiao. He was never my favorite fighter, but he's somebody that I heavily have respected throughout the years in the game, because he has so many different skills. Southpaw, fast hands, had that weird foot motion, you know what I'm saying? Like good feet. And then you saw like a country rally behind him, and then you think about the man behind the gloves and what he was doing for his country. It was definitely respectable. It's just, the battle was Manny versus Floyd. King Kunta says that would be different. Make them put headgear on amateur style. Matter of fact, have it with amateur rules. They all fought that way before. Um, I feel like they wouldn't participate if they had to wear headgear, unless it was like a tournament. Like, let's say they're gonna do a tournament over the course of a week, like set it up in Vegas, make it a whole thing, like the Masters, the Legends boxing tournament, and then you make it like a week long competition. So I think if they have to wear headgear, they're probably going to want to fight the entire series over the course of a few days, like they're fighting every other day. And I think that with the gear, then it makes it more suitable for that type of style. But maybe you go like 4 3 minute rounds instead of 8 2 minute rounds. So you shorten the fight a little bit, but I think it's more manageable on the body. But I think somebody maybe needs to explore that, and then these guys can actually make some money doing this, because you could put it on pay per view. I think a lot of people will purchase it. Like maybe you spend like $70 and you get to access the pay per view for a full week. A lot of people will pay for that, and they would just log in and out just to see their favorite fighters. Maybe I need to be talking to Al Heyman or somebody like that and stop putting my business out for free on the internet. But it's just something to think about. Just a general idea of how can we keep our legends active, how can we keep them safe, and how can we help them continue to earn some money doing something that they love and something that they have the skills for. So then your Amir Khans have a place to go. Your Kell Brooks, your Manny Pacquiao. Floyd Mayweather ain't gonna do it just because he can make way more money beating up foreign kickboxers and karate dudes who who want to get a nice check and a gold medal after he kicked their ass for like 30 minutes or something. But other than that, I just think that it's just an opportunity for us to see those guys before they truly fade into oblivion. And then you also can get it to where the coaches are former boxers, maybe the dudes that are in their 50s and 60s that still want to be around the sport. They could come in and train and coach with these dudes. And most of it is in name only, but you get to see your favorites. You get to see your favorites and really get a chance to like kind of just get back out there, and you see them get to work together. And then you can make it so fan friendly if you make it like in the summer, because then you've got photo opportunities where fans are going to pay to get in the venue, and you get to take a picture with like 3 or 4 different legends at one time. In my opinion, there's so many opportunities for this to be lucrative for the fighters, maybe not as much as their heyday, but definitely an opportunity to earn. And it's something that they could go back and do year after year. Hey, I went to the tournament last year, I didn't win. Now I got to get in a little bit better shape because I feel like I could win. Maybe some new guys are coming in, some older guys are stepping out and moving into a coaching role. And then you have like this entire league. It has structure, it has order, and then you can also market it, and it has a draw to it. So in my opinion, I think that there's an opportunity for it. It's just a matter of somebody showing the interest and then learning how to position the product properly. So League of Legacy says we could talk later and I'll tell you what I have on the back burner. No doubt, bro. Definitely shoot me an email or just give me a call. I got a live interview. We're gonna be back on here at 1 p.m. talking to Doug Fisher of the Ring Magazine. He does a lot of their online stuff, ringtv.com. So anytime in between then, I should have some time once I get done with this, or later on this evening. You got the info, so just hit me up and we can chop it up. All right, King Kunta says it will be funny because we could see some fights that were fantasy fights that promoters blocked in their primes. Yeah, exactly, man. Like you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to see some things that we might have missed. Like I'm in my 40s, so you got to think about how many fantasy fights never happened, and then guys have determined that they just don't have an opportunity to get it in. Like Khan versus Brooke was a really good fantasy fight that actually eventually came true, whether the stakes were high or not. Shoot, the big three works out. Yeah, man. Like the big three is dope. I like the idea. Some people were talking about they used to have a Legends game the weekend of the All-Star game for the NBA, and then a couple guys blew out their knees, so they took it away. That's just bad luck. You know what I'm saying? That's not the norm. I think that individuals in their late 30s, early to mid 40s, still have the physical ability, as long as you're staying in shape, to go and participate at a pretty high level if that's what you did for a profession. Now, I don't necessarily recommend it for people coming off the streets to go out there and compete with professionals, but one professional to another, I think it's a great opportunity for something novel for the fans to go and enjoy and be a part of. Let me see here. All right. So another thing I wanted to kind of get into and discuss was so Adrian Broner's opponent for the fight that he was supposed to have was Michael Williams Jr. All right. So are you guys pretty well up to date on what's going on with that situation, or do I need to go ahead and just fill you in on a little bit of the details? Because I could do that for sure before we get into some perspective and opinion I want to share. AB just having bad luck. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any foul play. I think that what we're dealing with is just, bad luck. This is also partially BLK Prime trying to get very cheap people to participate, and they're pulling people out of other fights. Like, let's say a guy has a fight on deck, so they know he's in shape. This is part of it. They know this guy's in shape because he's already got a fight signed up. He's in camp. So they're saying like, hey, how much they paying you? Are they going to give you 10K? Man, we'll give you 100K to come fight AB. So them dudes is like, bet, let me get about this deal. And then the people who are mixed in the deal are having issues. That's what happened with Ivan Redcatch. And that's also what happened with Hank Lundy. So Hank Lundy's back in whatever deal he had. Redcatch is sitting out because he's got some management issues. You know that they pulled David Avanesian from a different fight card and had to pay the step aside to those people. Basically, they had to pay that card off in order to put on the Bud Crawford fight. So all of that to say, the way that they're going about business has kind of put like a little bit of a bad omen on this particular deal. Yeah. So yeah, they're getting fighters that already had deals. So Redcatch already had a fight signed, and they paid the people to get him out of that one. But then he had an issue with his manager with the money, like a former manager. It was a lot of back and forth, kind of a little bit of he said, she said. At the end of the day, they just they stealing fighters, and that's the karma. So Redcatch couldn't do it. So then you get Hank Lundy in the mix, and so Lundy already had a fight sound, had a fight signed, and they didn't take care of the paperwork. He told the promoter from the other fight that he had an injury, but then he signed on to fight with BLK. Obviously, the news came out really fast that he was the replacement opponent for Red Catch, and the people at the other promotion reported Hank Lundy's injury. I'm about to get to your comment, League. I'm cooking there. I'm getting there. I want to give all the backstory. I think King Kunta may not have all the info, so I want to get him up to speed before I get into my opinion on the Michael Williams Jr. part. So anyway, so basically, Hank Lundy gets pulled out of the fight because he gets suspended by the California Athletic Commission, so he can't participate. So then, as soon as he drops out of the Broner fight, he basically gets reinstated, and then it turns out he gets put back on whatever card that he was supposed to be on to begin with, or he got put on another card. So it's like he comes off the table, and it was immediate. I think like the very next week after he pulled out of the Broner fight, he was already back in the mix for a different fight. So it sounds like he just went back to the people. No money had exchanged hands from BLK. He probably had taken advance from the other promoter, so he had to do them. He had to do right because he's already back in the mix. Fast forward, another replacement comes in, Michael Williams Jr. He and his family politicked him into the fight. Now, there was a Facebook post. I can't validate if it was real or not, but there was an offer saying they needed a replacement opponent by 5 p.m. on last Tuesday to be able to continue with the fight this coming week. And they were offering like $175,000 purse. I believe that they said Michael Williams Jr. was looking at like $250,000 of a purse. Excuse me. That's pretty good money. Depending on where you stand in life right now, that might be life-changing money for some. For a young professional boxer who's 20-1, I don't know if it's life-changing money, but it definitely was a life-altering opportunity because even in a loss, your name comes to the forefront of people looking for fighters. And if you make a good showing for yourself against AB, you could potentially change the trajectory of your career. Because if you're at 20, you know, you were 20-1 and it was a tremendous knockout against John Bauza that kind of put him on the map. I still really didn't know who this kid was, but then all of a sudden he's fighting AB and on a poster and the whole world knows who he is and they're seeing that knockout all over again. That being said, he goes into the fight and his trainer is Roy Jones. Now here's some backstory on his relationship with Roy Jones. He's been with RJJ for 5 years. So Captain Hook has been his part-time trainer for 5 years. All right. The way that the camps have usually worked is that he works with his dad up until about 3 weeks out from their fights. And then he goes and he works with Roy for 2 to 3 weeks. Basically, I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but Roy been all over the map training people. He was in Russia over the weekend. A couple weeks ago, he was out there with Chris Eubank Jr. at the Liam Smith fight. So it's like he's got all these different things going on. So he's really a part-time trainer for these guys. So from what Michael Williams Sr. says, and I'm just going to refer to him as Senior from here, from what Senior says, he was training Junior on all just to stay in shape, the basic stuff, the fundamentals. Roy comes in and does all the technical work. Now, again, keep in mind, this young man is already 20-1. So to some degree it's working, but you already know most 20-21 fighters haven't really been seeing no great competition, especially if you haven't known who they are. So we don't know how good his skill set looks. All right. So he goes to this camp and Roy is looking at him defensively and he's recognizing that he's not ready. So basically Roy is like, hey, I want you to get out the fight. And at first, Junior was like, yeah, Roy, I feel you. Okay, yeah, I'm going to back out. And then he changed his mind overnight and was like, nah, I'm going to stick with it. So in response, they say, at first, the rumor was Roy was bringing in these different fighters to camp that were supposed to test him and show that his defense wasn't good, but that's not true. These were the regular sparring partners that were always there. And for whatever reason, these guys were just touching him up. So they said his Junior's offense was sharp, but his defense was not. So he goes into some hard sparring, and it turns out a 135-pound fighter actually broke this kid's jaw. That's wild. That is wild. 135-pound fighter broke his jaw, and he was supposed to go in there. He was supposed to go in there with AB, who's fought at 147. And I don't care if AB don't let his hands go. If a 135-pounder cracked your jaw, what you think would happen against AB? So now I'm going to get into what League of Legacies is saying. I didn't fault Roy at all. And when I heard this interview, it was almost exactly what I said in regards to a fight on short notice and trying to get the work in because they wouldn't listen to the pro. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Say, bro, you ain't ready. Right. King Kunta says that 100K make him say F it. Right. Well, it was like 250, but still, for some folks in the world, 250 is life-changing money. So you have to think like, yo, it was a money grab. So I listened to an interview on Saturday that Senior did on somebody's live stream. I can't remember the platform. Please forgive me. I'll try to post a link after the video. But anyway, he basically said he was just cussing and he was just going off. I don't mess with Roy, F this, F that. He ain't no good, this and that. He was just in his feelings, like very emotional because the fight at that point had just officially gotten cut. So then yesterday was Monday and I was scrolling YouTube and I caught where there was a live with Everything Boxing and I saw that he had Senior on there. And there was a panel. Monty Brown was on there, Everything Boxing, World Combat Sports, as Scotty, and Senior. So they were kind of asking them questions, and Manager Marty jumps on, and he really gave him the business. I don't know if you guys have been following Manager Marty, but he has a lot of business related information for boxing, not necessarily the technical side, but go subscribe to him. Go check him out. He kind of came up off of YSM Sports Media, so definitely go subscribe and check them out too. But anyway, he was talking more in detail, and I think cooler heads has started to prevail because he is very transparent. But what he revealed, unfortunately, was that it sounded like it was about the money. King Kunta says it's crazy. AB dropped Sean Porter before. Roy really tried to save his life. I feel like he definitely tried to save his career from embarrassment because now you go from some club show where you get KO'd by Bowser to getting destroyed on a small pay-per-view by Adrian Broner and have everybody talking about AB back. And the fact that it's AB means it's going to get millions and millions of views. So he definitely saved him some embarrassment and certainly saved his career trajectory. But yeah, so they were talking to him on Everything Boxing platform, and what he was talking about was, we was trying to fight anyway because, we figured it was just a cracked tooth. We didn't think the jaw was that bad, but it turns out Junior's mom actually stepped in and stopped the fight from going on. That's crazy, man. What do y'all think about that? I was in the chat and I was just thinking out loud, like, number one, he needs a full-time trainer. And Senior says they were working with Roy Jones because he's the name recognition. But I'm thinking, like, is there nobody else you could have went to that has a little bit of a name? And I'm thinking they probably was just throwing Roy a couple dollars or worked out some type of deal where he gets paid off the back end of stuff, like, so he just give them a little something, like he cares about the family, or maybe, there's some familial ties somewhere down the line. It just didn't sound like it was good business going on. It just sounded like they were attached for the name and Roy just found a way to get a little easy check. I don't know what them numbers look like, but my only speculation here is that Senior was there for the money, and I think Junior might just need to start to seek something else. If his dad wants to manage him, that's cool. But I think as far as the trainer thing, I think he really needs a full-time trainer to help him out and just keep him ring ready. I think that's the biggest difference with what has happened in this particular scenario. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, whose fault does it sound like to you, Lee? You say you don't fault Roy at all. If I were Roy, if I were in that position and I'm training that athlete in a dangerous sport like boxing, or if it was MMA or some type of combat sport, if I can't convince you to not do it, and I'm not gonna just pay you to like not do it, like I'm not gonna offset what you're losing or at least try to compensate you in some kind of way, I'm probably just gonna just respectfully decline continuing to work with you because I feel like you're not gonna take the advice that's probably gonna save your life or save your career, you know, because that's really what happened. Like, like he was trying to save him, and the fact that a smaller fighter than the guy that you were gonna fight is the one who hurt you, it just doesn't make sense. Now, something else to talk about or think about is that so it was hard sparring. Do you guys feel like maybe Roy was in the wrong because the fight is the 25th? They were doing hard sparring right before Valentine's Day. Let's say 12, 13, 14, because the 14th was a Tuesday and they were hard sparring that Monday and Tuesday. So the 13th and 14th, it was hard sparring. So that puts you about 9 to 11 days out from the fight. Should you be doing that? King Kunta says, I agree. If I'm your trainer and I'm telling you something, you refuse to listen, I don't need to train you. Exactly. I feel like if you can't trust me to know that I'm telling you something with your best interest in mind, then it's probably a good opportunity for us to part ways. League of Legacy says, you have a point, but when you think of Roy's mindset, he's feeling like he has to do all he can to help him out because who else can the kid go to, especially at this point? Yeah, and I feel like I have an opinion, but I don't have enough backstory to validate my opinion fully. Because I don't know what the personal relationship is. Like, they say he went to camp, he was in good spirits, he felt like he could beat AB, he was coming for the upset, and then Roy basically lets him know, like, nah, fam, you ain't ready. And I feel like they had some type of personal enough relationship for Roy to tell him, I'm not just here for a check, I'm here for you, and you shouldn't be in there. Your defense don't look good, Junior. But then they go in there and fight anyway. Now, here's something that was crazy though. So on the Everything Boxing stream, Senior said, and they didn't let him cook on it because I think Monty Brown or maybe manager Marty, somebody diverted the conversation. But he was like, well, Roy's dad messed him up, so I think it might have something to do with that. And I thought that was one of the most foul things. Like, the way that up to that point, Senior had at least accepted that when his son called him on the 13th and said, hey, I don't like it, the mood has changed down here, something ain't right, I'm getting, it's hard sparring. He was like, nah, thug it out. You ain't no quitter, thug it out. Then it happens again on the 14th, which is when the injury happens. And he's kind of saying the same thing till eventually he was like, nah, something's wrong with my mouth. I need to see a doctor. So that being said, then you go to this point where Senior's trying to blame that dynamic on Roy Jones' dad. Like, Roy's dad messed him up. This just doesn't make sense to me that he even went there. So it sounds like the dad is just upset that Roy messed the bag up. That's all it can be. Roy messed the bag up. But if I'm the fighter, I'm the one who got to pay everybody that's here. If I don't want to spar, I ain't gonna spar. I'm gonna force my trainer to make a decision. If I don't want to spar, you put me in there with somebody and I see these dudes is going full throttle, guess what? I'm done, coach. I'm gonna be sitting on the trainer's table. I'm going to get an ice bath, or I'm about to go give me a chocolate sundae or something, but I ain't about to do this. You're not about to have me in here getting touched. I got to fight in 10 days. That's kind of how I feel about it. So I don't know. It sounds like a lot of drama to it, but hopefully I explained it as best as possible, left some people out there informed about what's going on with this particular situation. I just think it's unfortunate because at the end of the day, we all brothers on here, and one black man to another. I just wish there was a better way that could have been solved, because I don't like to see black men tear each other down. I like to try and see resolution. I like to see adult dialogue and discourse. And I feel like that didn't happen. He's saying crazy things about Roy. Roy has said a little bit of something. I just hope that they could sit down and talk. I mean, they said they won't work together again, but hey, some fences can't be mended. Some you just got to tear it down, and that's cool too. Everybody ain't meant to be around forever. But I do wish that they could at least get to a place of peace where there's mutual respect and parting the ways. Because I just hate to see brothers in the media and the news getting at each other in a negative way. And I don't think Senior want to see Roy like that anyway. Speaking of Roy, seeing people, he does have a fight with what appears to be a bodybuilder coming up in sometime like in the April or May. So we'll see how that goes. Another legend who probably shouldn't be in the ring. Roy mid-50s. He should chill. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for me today, guys. I appreciate y'all rocking with me through the show. Oh, Dave, what's up, man? Hey, I'm doing good, bro. Wish you could have called us a little sooner. We were cooking on the Roy Jones and Michael Williams Jr. situation. It's unfortunate. I'm hoping that they could get some resolution at some time in the near future. But I am going to close on that note and exit the booth. Before I go, I did want to run this intro one more time. Hey, man, it took a little time and effort from me. So, I'm a little proud of this work. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments before we get out of here. So hold tight. I'm about to run this intro.
Hop in the red, then I bought it, it's Liddy again.
Hey, again, thank you everybody for tuning in, man. This has been T-Word for the Mic Check Podcast. Don't forget to check back in at 1 p.m. Central Time. We'll be interviewing Doug Fisher, a.k.a. Doug Fisher of ringtv.com. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, so be sure to come back and drop your questions in the chat. I had to put this on the screen. The intro is tough. Thank you, bro. Free my guy. He ain't shooter. For real, though. But yeah, man. Hey, don't forget to tap back in 1 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be talking to Dougie Fisher, the ringtv.com. I'll be back with my co-host Q. Until the next time, this has been T-Word. I'm exiting the booth, and I'm out. Peace.